Hey everybody, I'm Daniel Gritzer from Serious Eats, and I'm here with Maggie Hoffman, who is a person and name you may recognize, former Serious Eats managing editor and author of this new awesome cocktail book called Batch Cocktails. What we're going to talk about is this sort of interesting question of how do you scale up a cocktail? Because it's not as simple as just multiplying the ingredients, right?
I think what people often forget is you go into a bar and you think, okay, I want a Negroni that has gin and sweet vermouth and Campari, and your bartender is going to put those ingredients in a mixing glass, and what are they gonna do?
They're going to stir it or shake it.
Stir it or shake it.
With
It's a
ice.
Negroni, they're gonna stir it with ice. What they're doing is actually not just chilling it down with that ice. They're actually adding an additional ingredient, a fourth ingredient that's really important. And that very important ingredient is water. You may think, oh, I like it strong, like leave the water out. That's really not a good idea because the water also brings down the sweetness of the drink and brings the drink into balance. So every cocktail you've ever had has water added.
If I'm throwing a party and I want to just do a big batch of cocktails, why might I not want to just stir a huge, number of servings with a whole lot of ice all at once?
One of the things about a party is that people are going to drink their drinks at different times. They might have one at the beginning, they might have another in a half an hour. Someone might start with a glass of water. As the cocktail sits on the ice, it's going to continue to dilute. And so dialing it in at just the right amount of dilution gives us a little more control.
That water is not just some accidental interloper in what's going on. It's a critical ingredient.
Exactly. So when I was making this book, I tested all the recipes trying to figure out the perfect amount of water for each drink. But I think some people maybe haven't thought about water as an ingredient. So one of the things we were wondering is how much water is in a Negroni.
Why don't we make a Negroni, which is what we're set up to do here, and see firsthand what ice is really doing when we make the drink. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So what we're gonna do is make a classic Negroni, which is a 1:1:1 ratio of gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. We'll build it in this measuring cup to see that we have 3 ounces. We're gonna stir it on ice. We'll put it back in this measuring cup and see if we've had a volume change, right? That's what we're gonna do.
When you're measuring, you always do wanna.
That's right, you gotta get low. Of course, we're looking at the wrong side. And we need ice, right? Basic home style cubes here. How many should I put in?
Quite a bit. I would definitely get the ice over the top of the liquid.
4, and now we gotta start stirring with our thermometer.
And hold on, yeah.
So I'll start telling you what I'm seeing. 59, 53, we're falling! 49, 43, we're going down, Captain. 45, 34, we're approaching the freezing point. 32.1, 32. 29.8, 29.6. Are we there?
Keep going, yeah.
Keep going.
See what happens.
28. When do I stop?
I think 28 is a great temperature. Anywhere between 20 and 28 is pretty good. But the other thing that's happening here is you're also diluting.
Should I strain?
Let's do it.
Because
See how much water.
I'm still diluting.
So where did we end up? So
now
we're a little over 3.5, like maybe even 3 2/3.
Yeah, we've added more than a half ounce of water to this cocktail just by stirring.
Now the question is, how do you like to drink it and how do you like it?
I like to drink it with my mouth. Sorry. Oh, like am I drinking it on the rocks or am I drinking it up? Is that?
Yeah, so that matters because if you're drinking it up, you want to find the perfect dilution that's going to stay there the whole time. In that case, you might want a little more water.
Here we have a sample of Negroni that has no dilution, and then we have, with a 1/4 ounce of water added, a 1/2 ounce of water added, and 3/4 of an ounce of water added. So this one with the 3/4 ounces of water has actually frozen, and it's slushy. Let's start by tasting the no dilution Negroni, just to see what happens when you try to batch a cocktail and don't think about the water. Yeah, it's you don't want to drink that. I mean, you might want to drink it, but it's really sweet and it's really strong, really strong.
Really sweet, really strong, so you want a little bit of water. How do we do it 1/4 ounce?
For this one, we'll have the real experience. I'll put my straw down. So that's a 1/4 ounce. This is the 1/2 ounce. And of course, these will fill the glasses differently also. Look at that. This is the frozen Negroni. Okay, there we go. Melt. Melt. So I'm going. I hope I had enough breakfast this morning. Okay, here we go. Ooh, that's still strong. That's still not bad. Now here comes the half ounce. Hold on. Science.
For science.
Oh. Yeah, okay, yeah, this one's, it's got some kick, a little too much kick. I'm almost wondering that if this is gonna be my dilution here, because
Yeah.
that's still got some.
So when you're serving a drink in a coupe like this, there's no chance to add any additional water. So you need it to be right where you like it.
I think for me, I'm a 3/4 ounce water in my 3 ounce pour of Negroni.
So what I would recommend is that you make that batch 3/4 of an ounce for each serving, multiply by the number of servings you're doing, and then keep that in the fridge. You can keep it in the fridge for a couple of weeks with the dilution, and then right before you want to serve, an hour or 2 or 3, I would say less than 4 hours, you'll put it in the freezer so it gets very cold but doesn't freeze.
All right, so now we have all the same dilution levels, and we're gonna try them now over ice, on the rocks.
Right, so in this case, your first sip is going to be different from your last sip.
This is a case where the drink will evolve as you attack it, unless you chug it.
Don't chug it.
I'm feeling those Negronis already, I'm gonna tell you right now.
So what happens if you don't dilute your Negroni, you batch it, and you just pour it on ice?
So here's our super chilled, no dilution Negroni.
Can you handle it?
I don't know. Yeah,
It's a little strong.
it's a bit much. Getting better.
Now, you have to think the first sip may not be perfect. You want it somewhere close, and you want the last sip to be somewhere close. You want to be in the range of correct dilution.
Right, better to err a little bit on the side of strong when you're serving on the rocks because it's gonna get weaker.
Especially on a hot day.
This is the slush drink. I can chew it. It was much easier with the up ones for me to like identify my preferred one, but here
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, which one do I want? It's a little adventure in every sip. I don't know, like the half ounce is tasting pretty good to me right now.
That's about where I'd peg it. So you did 3/4 of an ounce if you aren't adding any more ice or dilution, and half an ounce where it's gonna get a little bit more as those ice cubes melt.
I passed the test.
High five.
There's no right answer. That's why you're doing this.
And of course, if you don't want to do this math, you can just use one of these recipes that has it all figured out for you.
With every sip, the appeal of not doing the math and just following a recipe grows. But I like that I understand now what's behind the whole thing and why it makes sense to do a batch cocktails book, because it really is not. It's not just multiplying a base recipe and thinking you've made a good drink. You're gonna be sad. Cheers, Maggie. Thank you for coming and teaching me a bit about cocktails, dilution, and big batches. And please check out her book to get a lot of good ideas for cocktails beyond a delicious Negroni.
Thanks for having me.